Hi everyone, my name is Liz and today is December 30th. I am a maker. I knit, crochet, spin, sew, quilt, uh, and anything else I decide to make. I do lots of things. Um, Please feel free to like and subscribe or leave a comment. I'm more than happy to talk to you and respond back. I'm also on Instagram as Liz's Fiber Crafting Nook if you're interested in being over there. All right. Uh, Advanced warning. My family is in the house. My son's the only one that's gone, and they're having problems containing themselves with noise factor. And I've told them to knock it off. So if you hear things in the background, sorry. Hopefully it's not too loud. It shouldn't be, but. Okay, let's move right into finish objects. I finished the knit along with Arne and Carlos. Oh, they have a YouTube channel. They had a knit along for a Christmas stocking. And I talked to you guys about this a little in the last episode. I believe this is episode, I don't know, maybe episode 30? Don't quote me. I didn't look. Oh, no, episode 29. I wrote it down. Just got to read my notes. Sure, that's gonna squirrel today. But before I show you the finished object, let's talk about my issues. I had issues. And it was not due to the pattern. It was me and my learning curve. So the stocking was supposed to be done on DPNs. I've used DPNs and on like fingers of mitts or mittens or things like that, or gloves, not mittens, and thumbs. And they're fine for little projects like that for me. But this stocking was, a Christmas stocking. And I found it really fiddly, and I kept losing my stitches off the back ends because it was pretty wide. And I ended up, to start out with, the toe was different. It was it was like magic ring, and then it came up and it's pointy. And so you're increasing at the ends of each DPN, so it looked a little bit like a swirl. Kind of had a neat little twirl look to it, but I ended up having to rip that out 3 times, and then I just was like leaving it at this point. And then I continued on, and still wasn't my favorite toe, but it was good enough. It was a Christmas stocking. It wasn't being fitted to someone's foot. And continued on and did my color work. And I was having tension problems. Kind of like my first color work was my poncho. And it was all the puckering and stuff because the float tension was too tight. And I'm a tight knitter, so that would definitely be me. And I knew that I could probably block most of it out. And then I did the heel, and I got up, and I was probably about yay far into the cuff. So I would say I was just a little over halfway done with this thing. It was giant. That thing was like from toe to heel here, and it was like this wide. And I still had to go out, and I was probably going to end up being like this much for just the color work for the leg, and then it still needed to have its ribbing done. I was like, I don't need to fit my whole entire Yorkie into this Christmas stocking. I wanted something that was, I don't want it to be too small, but also I don't need it to be like I didn't need a 3-foot long stocking. Or I'm pretty sure it was going to be more than 3 feet. It was massive. Anyway, and my husband says to me, "You're not going to pull that out. Why would you pull all that out?" Like, I don't like how I like what it looks. I like the all the yarn and all the things about it and stuff. But I says I'm just not happy with the size, and probably why it was taking me forever because it was massive. So I pulled it all out. All the way out. And then I left it on the DPNs with just the toe because I pulled it out to just the toe. And I left it in my little yarn bowl here with just the toe on the DPNs. And I let it sit there for a while. And then I was like, you know what? I wasn't a big fan of the toe, and the DPNs are annoying the hell out of me. I just didn't like working on the DPNs for this whole project. It was just, I don't know. I think if I practiced for a while, it'd be fine, but I really was getting annoyed with stitches coming off the ends. That was really annoying. Ripped it all out. Ground zero. Put all the, even though I had cut all the yarn and stuff, put it all in the bin, started all over. Put the DPNs away, and I got out my good old trusty Xiaogu interchangeable magic loop. And I just worked the sock as I would work a sock. It's just a big toe for a big sock. All right. So it started flying it just started flying. I went through the toe, got the toe done fairly fast, got up to the color work, and I just started doing it. And maybe it's because I practiced for the whole sock that I had ripped out. My float tension is mucho better. It way flat. Maybe a touch of tension in some spots, but not really. It blocked out perfectly. Got it wet, washed it, blocked it out, and ta-da! Nicer. I'm much happier with this. All right, so here's what I did. I did not follow the yarn. The yarn's supposed to be DK. I just used, some of it's a little thicker sock yarn, but I used sock yarn essentially. And the only things that I wish is that it was probably about, if I said 1 inch more fabric, that would be a 1/2 inch on each side. So yeah, probably about 1 inch more in stitches would have put me at the width I would have liked a little more. Let's see, this is my first stocking. And the ribbing, I did 4x4. I think next time I'll do 2x2. I think 2x2 might be a look I might like. And then I would definitely probably double the ribbing so that I could do a fold over top. I mean, I can still do the fold over top. I just didn't want to cover up any of my color work. There's my color work. Now, the original colors are supposed to be green, the blue's supposed to be white, and the red's supposed to be red, but I'm a little different. And I did a shadow wrap heel. They called for a afterthought heel. I just did it and then moved on with the I've been really liking the shadow wrap heel, so I used it. And that is all, I think, on this guy. I would totally do it again. It took me the whole month of November between making it and ripping it out, and the whole month of December. I literally finished it 2 days after Christmas. Obviously, I didn't get to use it for Christmas, but that's okay. I still have, because there's 4 of us, and I don't know if I will be giving this one away or using it. I mean, I like it. We'll see. I'm undecided. Has no future anythings. Also, I learned a new technique to help keep, for those of you who know magic ring loop, you have this half of your stitches is on this needle, and this half of the stitches are on this needle. When you pull out to come back to work over here, this section here, people can end up with laddering and tension problems. And with the color work, down here you can see, let's see, can you see this a little bit? I could have probably blocked it out a little more, but that was where you pull your loop out and you come back, and it leaves kind of a tensioned gap right there until you get back around and you keep working. It usually relaxes together. I have no problem when I'm making socks and things. However, there is a method in which you can go back and put 4 stitches that you already worked on your needle and come around so there's no gap between the stitches you just made and the stitches you're starting to make. I don't think I made too much sense, but I'm considering, someone told me about it and I did it. I'm considering, I never call my videos tutorials. I just showing you what I do, and it gives you the option of investigating maybe a better, because I don't even know what to call it, but you can either pick it up from me or you can go find a video with somebody who knows what they're doing for a tutorial video. Anyway, I don't know when I'll do that, but it's on my potential to-do list. All right, and then I complete next. That was it on that. If you have any more questions about it, you can just ask me in the comments and I'll make an effort to try to answer. Next, I completed, let me read my notes here, 2 more baby socks. One is newbornish, these guys, and one is about 6 months. So here's the side by sides. All right. I made a pair of socks with this yarn, and I told you I do not have the name. This sock yarn was a thrift store find with no ball band. And then the toes, the dark is the Peyton's Croy. Was it charcoal? You'd have to go look at my last video. I didn't go look at my last video. I don't. It's the leftover yarn from my last pair of socks. All right, let's give you some details. I don't presume that any of you go back and look at any of my old videos. So here we go. Baby socks. For the newborn ones, you cast on 8. You increase every other row until you have 40 stitches. You knit until 2.5 inches. Wrap. I did. You can use any heel you want. I started out with the wrap and turn heel, and I do like it, but you can get some gaps. And I've been really enjoying the shadow wrap heel by the Earth Tone. I followed a tutorial from Earth Tone Girl. And that'd be my recommend. Go do that one. Add in at the top, after you finished your heel, I do one row where I add in 3 stitches on each side of the heel. How do I explain that? So you would add 3 stitches here and 3 stitches here for a total of 6 extra stitches for the back side of the foot. Then you connect back in the round, and I work up. I do 1 row in the round before I start my decreasing. And then I decrease just on the back side out those 6 stitches every other round till I'm back to my 40 stitches. And then I start into my 2x2 ribbing for another 2 inches. 2 inches. And that completes. That's what I do for my infant socks. Infant socks, I call it newborn-ish. Babies can be born teeny tiny, which means that they won't be able to fit this sock for a while. But then they could be like my child, who was born at over 9 pounds, and he might be able to fit these like right away and wear them for a very short time before he's into big stuff. That's why I say ish. And then the next ones I did were what I call the 6 months-ish. Babies just vary in size, and just like all people vary in size so much that while one person might not be able to wear them ever, one person could probably wear them for a long time. And babies grow fast. All right. These guys, same method as the first ones I just told you, except for you still cast on 8, but you increase until you have 44 stitches. And you go for 1.5 inches before starting the heel, and then you can do whatever heel you want to do. And then you do the, hold on, looking. You still do 2 inches at a 2x2 ribbing. Anyway, that's what I got going on there. And the only thing I've been working on making for other people, truly working on, is the baby socks. I have 5 babies that are going to be due in the upcoming year, and I'm making things for them. Currently, it's just the socks. My goal in my head is to use up sock yarn, or the leftover bits. All right, enough about that. Next is my works in progress. Let's get these out. I'm working on a pair of socks. If I'm looking at, I actually made notes. So sorry. All right. I have to have something on the needles to work in my vehicle and in any appointments. I started these. Well, I wasn't very bright. I didn't put my start date. Let me think real quick. Start them on Monday. Might have started them on Monday, the 23rd, 22nd. I don't remember. Doesn't matter. These are going to take me longer than my normals because I'm only allowing myself to work on them in the car. All right. This is Peyton's Croy. And we're cleaning up Christmas stuff, so the ball bands are misplaced. When I finish these, I will give you the details about the colorway. But they're Peyton's Croy. Sure, you could find if you desperately wanted to look. I got it at Joann's. I had not gotten this particular colorway before, and they weren't even on sale. I was like, I just want to get it. So I got them. And these are possibly, they could be for me, but they're possibly for my daughter. I'm almost certain I'm making them for my daughter. The reason why I'm not certain is because she said, when you start, there is a little bit of a knot right there where you start. You can kind of see it right there. Where you start your toe, cast on your stuff, and she says, that bothers her. She's on the spectrum. She's always been weirded by sock creases and things. If it bothers her, they're for me. And then I have some other method for starting her socks that will still please me, the maker who's making, and maybe might work better for her. Anyway, in my handy dandy bag I always use for my socks. All right. Off to the side. Enough about those. You'll hear about those when I actually finish them. Next work in progress. My heavily modified monkfish Sam. When I say heavily modified, meaning I have the pattern and I'm only following the pattern as a filler. I don't know how to explain this. So I'm making my pieces, and when the pattern works to use it, I work that portion of the pattern. I make that portion of the pattern, and every step of the way I consider whether I am installing my modifications. I cannot tell you any of the modifications or what I'm using because it's a paid for pattern. Even though my portion isn't paid for, I just am making it up. I don't want to give away any portions of this person's pattern. I recommend you go buy it and make it for yourself the first time. Here's the original. This is following the pattern. I only modified and did different eyelids. And the teeth are not crocheted, they are polymer. But I followed the pattern to make Monkfish Sam. And I would recommend you make Monkfish Sam, and if you feel like you are comfortable enough to modify, go for it. What's the worst case scenarios? You don't finish it because it didn't work out. That's always my worst case scenario. All right, I've shown this before, but you haven't seen it in a while. And for those of you who would not go back and watch old videos, it's okay. I'm going to show it to you now. Heavy modification part. He obviously doesn't come with an open mouth or a tongue or a uvula. I know it's not reality to have a uvula, but it's what my kid likes. And I wanted him to have open mouth. He will have a whole mouth of teeth at some point. And so I'm having to figure out where his eye goes, how far back. So right now, the last, I'm back into pattern mode where I've been working the last little over an inch. So yesterday I accomplished a whole inch on this thing when I picked him up. And I'm going to keep going on him today and hopefully work on him a little bit every day. The hopes is to get him off of get him finished. That's the hope. Anyway, I'm going to be working on Monkfish Sam. My version of Monkfish Sam. He was the basis for the idea. And to be truthful, I'm mostly using the pattern just to make notes on all my modifications, and there's not much of the pattern left in it. It's just the pattern, it's just the idea. Thanks to the creator of Monkfish Sam, I got some cool ideas. All right. And it's kind of like one of those create your own adventures. You start out and you veer off into whatever direction you feel. I would encourage people to learn what shapes things take and then modify your stuff. Make it your own. Creatures are creatures. Toys of particularly, just say you did it on purpose. You wanted him to look that way. They're like, oh, it looks weird. Yeah, I wanted him to look weird. Most of the time I do want mine to look weird. Okay, goals. My goals are I wrote it down here, to make a bunch of progress on my heavily modified Monkfish Sam. I also want to work on those socks in the car and things and get those complete eventually. Not a goal to complete them, but if I happen to, I do. If I happen to finish those, I will cast on more baby socks with the leftover yarn from those socks. I want to get them used, and then the leftover yarn from that, if there is any, goes on to my sock yarn ball that I will do something with someday. What, I don't know. Surprise. All right. And that's it on that. I've been wanting to share with you about a PDF reader I use for my patterns. I've heard other people talk about all kinds of different ones. I don't use any of those ones, and I've never heard anyone talk about GoodReader. I use it on my iPad. And let me open it up here. And then let me go to a page of my pattern that does not give away any information. Scrolling to the beginning, because you can totally see the very first pages with its pictures. Okay. So here's the pattern on it, right? And I'm in an annotated version. So when you have your PDF and it's your freshy new PDF and you decide to, let's see, say I decide I want to do something. Hold on. All right. And you hold your finger down and something like that'll come up. And say, I want to make a note on here. I can write down whatever I want, give it a little, and I can save it. And when you first do it, it'll ask you if you want to do it on that pattern or create an annotated version. I always create an annotated version, so I have the PDF that has nothing done to it. And a little note will crop up that you can always touch and see what it says. In this case, I wrote a bunch of garbly goop. All right. And another feature I use all the time, you hold down your finger again, and you can see the lines and stuff. So when I'm doing graphs or line by line, I can mark it out. And I can move it around. Right now I have it in yellow, so here I'll put it over the top of. I'll highlight through monkfish picture so you can see it. And then done, or in this case, I'm going to push cancel. And then I can keep going down the line and it marks marks where I am. And I can take them all off and start all over. So if I'm making one eyeball and I go through and I mark off all the rows so I know where I'm at because I get interrupted all the time, no problem. When I'm ready to do the other eyeball, I just take all those off and start all over again. No big deal. And then I don't have paper all over the place, losing all my stuff. Everything's in one spot. Because I only ever use complex patterns and things at home while I'm able to count and stuff. Anyway, and it's all here. Also, I've scanned in patterns that are paper patterns or whatever, scanned them in on my computer, labeled it, and then sent it to myself through email or whatever, and put it on my GoodReader so I could do it on my iPad. I hope I gave you. Anyway, that's what I use on my iPad. If you have an iPad, that's what you can use. All right, and then that was it on the GoodReader. All right, what's been going on with me? You can leave if you don't want to listen to me yap for like a couple minutes. Shouldn't be very long because mostly I do the same things all the time. I still have one foster puppy. His name is Opie. He was adopted and then returned. No reasons of his own. Just they decided that it didn't fit in with what's going on in their life right now, and they returned him. You know, if I got rid of all my dogs every time there was an issue with something going on in my life, I'd never have any pets at all. But that's just me. And I was feeling guilty for a little while that I didn't make anything for anyone for Christmas. I got people Christmas gifts, but I didn't hand make anything. And my goal in life is to have handmade Christmas. But I'm only one person with only so much time. So I was like, it's not happening. Maybe next year. But I'm not going to stress myself out about it. And nobody else was like heartbroken about it. Anyway. And let me see. I probably made a note. Let's see if I will pull up my actual notes here. The next thing we're doing, like we're in the current process of packing away Christmas, hence why I can't find those stupid ball bands because I took them out the living room to wind up the yarn, and then I had them sitting in the living room. Now I can't find them. They're probably in the piles of messes that I got going on with getting Christmas put away. Anyway, and then I think that's pretty much it. Just been doing my normal, taking care of the peeps, trying to find time to make stuff, doing stuff for an animal shelter. And anyway, I hope you all had a really good Christmas, and your new year coming up is going to start out really good. And just think positive. Just go with it positive. And this is my last video of 2004, and I'll see you later. Bye.